If you haven't watched part one, you definitely probably want to see part one to see how I got to this stage. But if you're now watching and you want to know how I am going to turn this into hamburgers, it should be pretty evident because the color is right, the texture is really great. And what happened was, I was supposed to leave it for half an hour, but I gotta be honest, it's been probably about 5 hours because I was tired after cooking and having a very long day. It's New Year's Eve. The time is I think around 10 p.m. No, I'm not going out tonight. I'm going to make these burgers, record it for you, and then I'm gonna go to bed. That might happen before 12 o'clock, I gotta be honest. Anyway, so let me show you what to do. It's a really easy task from here. All we're gonna do is take each of these pieces. I'm just gonna put it on the side here. This is not paper, it's got a kind of like a little plastic type sheen. So yeah, never put it on plastic, but you can use your counter if it's clean. You just get basically one of these pieces here. Just press it down with your hand, and it's fairly obedient. You can see it's not kind of bouncing back a lot. So you can just press it down. If you want to, you can also, which is one of the things I do, you can use a rolling pin. And that just helps to give you a more even surface so that when you cook it, it will be flat. You do not need to add any flour to this rolling pin, do not. So you just roll it out to the shape you want your burger to be. Whatever size this is, when we put it in our frying pan, that's what it's going to be when we're done. So I'm just going to put this to the side. I'm going to get a few of these together, and then what we're going to do is just sear it. I wish I had a griddle pan, but my one was old, so I got rid of it. But I do need to get a griddle pan because this would look beautiful with a really griddle kind of look. But it's quite wide, as you can see here, and it's not too thick. Just look at that. Try and get the camera right. It's not too thick. You don't want it to be too thick because you want that kind of bite that you get with something that's meaty, but you do not want to kind of be chewing, when it doesn't kind of come along with you, which really with the ingredients, you wouldn't have to do that. But just to prevent that from happening at all, then just keep it nice and thin. I haven't tried this thick, and I don't think I will. But yeah, you can see here, it's really easy. There is no science to it. Just flatten it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have to be super flat, but just flatten it a little bit. And if you've got like a burger press, I don't have one, but a burger press would be great because it would give it kind of all the dimples that you're normally used to seeing with a burger. So while I'm doing that, what I'm gonna do is I'll take these couple over, and I'm gonna put my pan on to warm up. And then what I'm going to show you here, this is what we're going to use to steam it. So we're going to basically take these patties, we're going to low heat pan fry. It's really important you keep the low heat because with Vital Wheat gluten, if you use a high heat, it will become chewy and bready. And so it's really important to keep a low heat. So I just want to kind of sear it, and then that will keep the shape when we actually steam it. So that's the reason why we're going to sear it first. And then I've got here a pot with a steamer rack. I've got probably a couple of maybe 1.5 liters of water in there. That's perfectly fine for the length of time I'm going to be steaming. Can probably put a little bit more in there. So I'm going to put that on, and what we want to do is we want to get that pot hot. We don't want to heat it up while while the burger meat stroke steak meat is inside. We want to make sure that it is already hot before we get started. And my pan is ready, so I'm going to turn it down, and this one I'm going to turn on, and I'm just going to put it on a high heat so that it will get good and ready for when we steam. So this is a really easy recipe, folks. You will really never ever regret doing this. So I'm just gonna get this going. I'm sorry for the vertigo I'm giving some of you guys for watching when I'm doing stuff with one hand. I will be getting a tripod in the next week, and I will start to do more regular videos. So tell me in the comments what you want to see, and I will oblige if it's in my repertoire. So I'm gonna keep that fire pretty low, and just enough for it to get like a sear. Make sure it's a little bit warm before it goes in, not smoking, but it's hot, and you can hear the sizzle. All right, so I'm just gonna let that go, and then once those are cooked, I'm gonna put it on this rack so that they can kind of cool a little bit. So while that's going, let me go and get the other one, because I think this one's ready to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that one in with the other two, so there's 3 of them. Let's get that in there as well. Just giving it a little bit more of a shake so it's not as thick. Ouch. All right, so that's going now. And again, I am not in a hurry to cook this. I want it to be able to sear nicely. Just adjusting the temperature now. I want it to sear nicely. I would say medium low, or low with a touch of medium probably. Just make sure that your whole pan is getting covered. And so while that's going, let's go ahead and get the rest of these together. I was going to do all of this stuff before the video, but I wanted to show you that there's no trickery. A lot of the time people do these videos and they're like, oh, this is so easy, and they'll cut something that takes a lot longer right down, which is good-ish, but when you try to make it yourself, you get into some trouble and you're not really sure how to do it because you didn't see it yourself. And I always want my videos to be like, you know, if you were with a family member in the kitchen and they are cooking and you're watching what they're doing and you're talking at the same time. And so that's really the vibe that I want. I really would like to hand down these great recipes, hand off these great recipes, and you can make yourself and your family happy with them. So this is how you make the burger from scratch. I can smell that one smells a little bit like it's cooking a bit faster than I'd like. So I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to turn that down because I can smell it already. I mean, it smells great, but I don't want to be able to smell it. It means the fire's too high. So I'm just going to give that a quick flip, and you're just looking for that kind of color on it. You're not trying to cook this so that you don't have to steam it. You still have to steam it. It's vital wheat gluten, it's seitan, so you still have to steam it. So this is going to carry on going, and it's, I'd probably say about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes on each side. You just don't want to go overboard. That's the most important thing I'm trying to get at. And underneath my steamer, I've got the, I don't know what this thing's called, but the raiser. It raises your pot up so it's not so direct, and I would definitely recommend using that, because when you're steaming your seitan, which is vital wheat gluten based meat, You just do not want it to be too hot, and sometimes if the heat is directly underneath the pan, it can get really, really hot and it's harder to control. And you might be able to hear it. I actually also use a fan in my kitchen, and that helps me to also manage the temperature as well. So these are going, like I say, once these are done, I'm going to put them here on this rack for them to cool a little bit, and then I'm going to put them in here to steam. Now, how I discovered this recipe, I'll go back over so I can show you the raw version. How I discovered this recipe, I didn't discover it really, I made it last week, and or 2 weeks ago, maybe just under 2 weeks ago. Hubby wanted a burger for lunch. I had the burger buns, and I don't always get burger buns, but we had these really nice wholemeal burger buns, and I had some jackfruit left over, so I offered him a jackfruit burger, and he was like, oh yeah, that'll be nice, you know, in the way that somebody doesn't want to bother you, because I was really busy that day, would say. But I knew I wanted to kind of give him something that would make him actually happy, as opposed to just kind of like, you know, accepting my base offer for something to eat. So anyway, I went in the kitchen and I'm like, I'd been looking at these brown lentils. I'd already cooked them. And I was like, I wonder if I can make a quick burger with this, because they look so good for a burger. And I just felt like the texture for steak, burger, would be really good. I just want to show you this while I'm talking. Look at the texture on that. Can you see that? Look at that texture. That is what's going to give that nice meaty texture. If you're unfamiliar with seitan or with vital wheat gluten foods, you won't really know what you're looking at. But meat, a meaty texture is kind of what we're looking for. And some people are vegan, they don't like meaty textures. I'm not one of those people. But here we go. So anyway, that was how I came up with it. I was like, let me just chuck a few things together, and I just put some of the lentils and the chickpea flour and some seasonings, blended it up, and then just added the vital wheat gluten to it, and it was easy peasy. So yeah, I didn't tell him, and then I bought him the burger and I said I made like burger, and he literally stopped eating halfway through, came to find me in the kitchen and was like, that burger is amazing. So this is why I was like, I've got to definitely, the next time I cook this, I've got to definitely do a video. So this is why the video isn't kind of as spiffy as maybe others, because I just would rather capture it than not show you something that you could make for yourself or for your family. And this is really easy to make. That's the beautiful thing. If you, like when I was doing the recording, it took me like maybe 20-25 minutes to do the mixture. But if I wasn't recording, it would have taken me 10 to 12 minutes, do the mixture, leave it for 30 minutes, go off and do something else for 30 minutes, and then just come back, fry it, and then just chuck it in to steam. It was quick. That day I started about 12:15, and we were eating by 3 o'clock. And yeah, it's really quick, and it's very, very, very tasty. Give you a little bit of a close-up. And the deep brown color I get from using browning. It comes out brown anyway, but I added some browning, maybe about a teaspoon and a half, maybe 2 teaspoons I think I added. And this is a forgiving recipe. In the part 1, I didn't give quantities because you don't really need quantities. You just need to make sure that you have whatever brown lentils you've got, maybe 2 cups you can put in. And then after that, you put in about a cup and a half of the chickpea flour. Put all your seasonings, don't measure those, just put it what you like, and some oil, And it's pretty much it, with some water, of course. I'll explain that when I come back. Let me just get these on the fire. So I was going to pull it out with my hand, but I didn't want to shock you. So I'm fine with the sear on these, so I'm just going to leave them here. And they're just going to cool a little bit. They don't need to be completely cold. That's not necessary. And we're not going to wrap them up further either. So my pan is ready. It's steaming already. I've just turned it down. I'm leaving that on low. And I'm just going to spray my skillet again and get some of these in there. And I'm saying this is seriously yummy. Like seriously yummy and easy to do. Let's give it another little spray. And if you just came on this video and you didn't know I was cooking vegan food, you wouldn't look at that and be like, oh, that's vegan. Ew. Like, you'd be like, oh, what meat is she cooking? That looks like a beef burger or hamburger meat. So that's the idea. And here's another serving suggestion. This is what I did another day during the week. I took two that were kind of thicker. So I would say probably like that one and that one. And I basted it with some barbecue sauce. And then I put it in the air fryer. So it got kind of nice and sticky. And then I served it with some wedges and salad. And it was like basically barbecue steak. You can put it with A1 sauce. You can put it with whatever sauce you like. And it just works. And it's good as a standalone. It's not chewy. You don't have the horrible bite that you sometimes get with some of the vegan meats. Sometimes as well, when you eat things like Beyond Burger, it can taste a little bit mechanical, like not real. It's probably not a good way of explaining it, but if you've ever eaten fake meats, you'll know what I mean. Sometimes it just doesn't taste normal. I don't know the right word. So this is how you do it at home. And the Vital Wheat gluten, I think for this I only used probably 2.5 cups. Now this is a 1 kilo bag. Don't ask me what that is in pounds and ounces. 1 kilo, actually no, that's 2.2 pounds. I know that because I'm losing weight. 2.2 pounds as a bag, right? This is how much is left. Tons, right? So this one bag might cost you $5. I don't know how much it costs where you live. But if I can make 20 pieces, 20 burgers, 20 steaks, and still have this much of what creates that meaty texture left over, it shows you how much money you can save making this stuff from home. It's absolutely bananas how costly some of the vegan meat is nowadays. The vegan alternatives, you go to a vegan restaurant, you pay sometimes more than what you would pay in a non-vegan or non-health foods type restaurant, which I think is interesting to say the least. Now I did want to confess or show you something. This looks like a cake. It ain't a cake. This is basically the same lentils and seasonings and stuff like that, but this one has the Vital Wheat gluten. I cannot eat Vital Wheat gluten anymore. So I have a medical condition, and this was one of the casualties that had to go. I'm getting better, and this is one of the reasons I haven't done as many videos, but I've had to abandon Vital Wheat gluten. However, my husband doesn't have the same issue, so he gets to eat this. And what I've done with this is essentially blended up the lentils along with some like a 1/3 cup of oats, some maybe the same amount of ground sunflower seeds, with some of the chickpea flour, probably a cup, and seasonings and stuff, and it was like sloshy. Yeah, so I can't make it have this meaty texture because it doesn't have the Vital Wheat gluten in it, and I couldn't quite think of what would give me the fiber I need for it to hold together the same way. So I poured it out into a sheet and basically put it into the oven to bake. So it baked out like a sheet like this. I've had a little bit already to taste. It's a bit of an acquired taste in terms of the texture, but flavor wise it was good. It would be good in like with rice. I can't eat rice, but it would be good with like quinoa or rice or whatever, or broken up into bits and put inside of a salad. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that, just giving me a little bit of variety in the very limited amount of foods that I can eat. So let's do a little bit more of this now. Get our burgers formed. And these are your building blocks, because when you use these, when you make these, here's the beautiful thing about it. You're not gonna have to do it every day. So you just have to do it, you know, once a week or whatever. And once it's cooked, it stays in the fridge just fine. So I cooked it and then it lasted for just about a week, the 9 pieces or so that I made last time. Now I'm making 20. But it stayed fine in the fridge. Once it was cooked, steamed, I let it cool down and I just put it in the fridge and I just separated them with my steam cloths, I guess. So I'm going to use these. They kind of look like real cloth. They don't look like, they're not paper. And I'll put these in the steamer and then use, like, kind of build these up around and then put another one top so that the heat can still travel nicely through, but it just helps them kind of not to stick, so to speak. So that's what I'm going to be using in the steaming process. And then when I was done, I just put them into the fridge, separating them. So I think we're almost ready to take out those last 4 and put in another 4. Just squishing that down a little bit. And you can see here there's very limited resistance. It's not kind of like, if you just make the seitan, you know, you make your dough and then you kind of like squish it and cook it right away, it doesn't get to relax. And so it will kind of really resist you or fight you. And if you try to kind of press it or make it malleable, it will kind of retract really easy, and you don't want that. So you want this sense that you can kind of make it do what you want it to do. And these little bits here is just from where it's kind of like dried a little bit, because I left it out a little bit longer, but that's fine. It just adds to the character of it. All right, let's get these off the stove. And we're gonna then put another 4 in. Just separate them out a little bit. And they'll cook really well. These, I mean, oh gosh, drool. Wish I could eat this myself. So these will go in, and again, we'll give them about 2 to 3 minutes each side on a fairly low heat. Do not want to overcook them. We don't want to make them chewy. And when you make the Big Mac, you've got your bun at the bottom, and then you add some sauce. You put the burger meat on. I would put some like chopped onions and stuff. Put the burger meat on, maybe put some tomatoes on top of that, then put the middle, get some sauce, get salad, or I put another burger on, then put more sauce, put salad and stuff like that. So it really does come out like a burger. And if you eat vegan cheese or vegetarian cheese, then that's an option to use that as well. And oh gosh, yeah, look at that thing of beauty. So looks like I've made 5, 7, 11, so I've got 9 more to make. Let's go ahead and get these together. And the cooking process is going to be fairly easy and quick, as you've seen. And once they have finished with the fry off, if I had 2 skillets, or I've only got 2 burners over there, but if I had 4 burners, I'd have 2 skillets to make that the process quicker. And then I would also have the 3rd pot, or the big pot, I would have that on as well. Now, if you want some that are kind of like a little bit more steaky in shape, go for a shape that's kind of like that. Looks kind of more steaky instead of round. And all you do to do that is kind of like squeeze your mound and make it kind of triangle-y, and just kind of like just shape it so it's not round. Or you can use your rolling pin to help you do that. Pretty easy either way. All right, let's do these last few. And it's important when you do squish them, turn it over and squish again, so it just kind of makes it a little bit more level if you don't have a rolling pin or you don't have an extra hand like me. Okay, just last 3 here. I think that will be a good one for a thicker one. And with this, you do not need to add any more powders, any more oil, juice, nothing. Just keep it as it is. All of the necessary liquid has already been absorbed. Those sounds you're hearing is because it is New Year's Eve, so there are loads of fireworks nearby. Let me get this underneath here. Carry this over to the stove. Sojourn our journey. There we go. All right, let's turn these ones over. If you really like oil, I don't like too much oil when I'm cooking. If you really like oil, you can of course add more oil in. For me, that's not necessary. But it doesn't make sense adding more oil at this point. What you do is after you finish steaming and then that good and floppy, and they like kind of meaty texture and they're nice and floppy, that's when afterwards when you want to refry them, then that's when you add extra oil, maybe garlic butter type thing. You can do that as well, so that's another option. All right, so we are almost done. Let's see what she looks like. Yep, that looks good to me. Pretty easy. Once you've got one done, pretty easy to. Once one side is done, the other side cooks pretty easily. Remember, you're not trying to cook it really. You're just trying to get some color on it and get it to kind of solidify and cement its shape. For those of you new to my videos, welcome again. I'm Rose. And people often ask me, what are these? When we wash glasses, we put the glasses upside down and just people always ask me what those are. All right, so here's some of our vegan steak stroke hamburger stroke cheeseburger. And like I say, you can make this when you are food prepping and then it is done. So you can literally make a week's worth of meat, and when you want to warm it up, it's I'm not sure what it is in Fahrenheit, but in Celsius I would put it on the air fryer on 140 So it's pretty low when you want to reheat it. You do not put it on a high heat ever. And I would basically put it in the air fryer. I'd maybe put some sauce on it, put it in the air fryer for maybe 3 to 4 minutes, and that seems to be perfect. But you cook it, or you do that when you're ready to eat it. Don't put it on like early on. Cook everything else and then just put that on last, because once it's ready, it's ready. You just take it out, serve it straight to the straight to your plate. But so easy. Like I say, you want to do a burger or you want to serve it as steak, it's just so easy to do. And even though here it kind of looks like, oh, that doesn't look too much like a burger, it kind of does, but once it's steamed, it's going to look even better. It's going to be like more soft and malleable, which is kind of what you're looking for from a burger. It won't be hard, or, you know, kind of, you won't have that hardness that you sometimes get with the vegan meats that you buy. It's got a nice chew to it. And here is the raw, and I'm just pressing this final one. And that is it. So I've got 4 waiting now for those to be cooked. So let's take these ones over to the pre-cooking area. And these are like kind of like, if you haven't seen these before, plasticky type texture. It's not paper. Don't ever use paper with wheat gluten. It'll stick. You won't be able to get it off. All right, so let's have a look at these. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but these do kind of like increase size slightly, just even in this part of the cooking. This wasn't as big before. So I'm just going to turn this over. Again, we're not trying to cook it. We're just trying to let the steak know what its final shape is going to be, so that when we steam it, it doesn't become a hockey puck. So we're using this steam fry method to kind of solidify what shape it's going to be, and just kind of give it a little bit of manners, you know. So I can now start stacking up, because I think I'm pretty much close to finishing. There's just 4 more pieces left to fry, so I can actually start stacking them in the steamer. So let's go ahead and start that. So I've got here the water at the bottom. It's a basic steam. I don't have any salt or anything in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with putting a steam sheet in there. If you have another type of steamer, just go ahead and use that. And all I need to do is just, oops, shoot, wrong ones. I'm not doing the raw ones, it's these ones. Okay, so I'm just gonna basically put them around, make sure they're not on top of each other, and then I'm going to use another one on top of that. And this will allow the heat to pass. If you use paper, it kind of blocks it a little bit, but this allows the heat to pass while it's cooking and doesn't affect it. The stuff at the bottom cooks the same as the stuff at the top. It is no different. And what I try to do is not put them directly on top of the ones that were before it. So I kind of like just set them off a little bit in terms of where they're sitting. Again, this is not a science, just, you know, do your best. All right, gonna put another one of these on top. And then final one so far, because we're still waiting for these other ones to go. I think they're probably going to be about ready now. Yeah, these are ready. So I'm just going to put it over to the side. I don't want to put them directly into the steam. I'm just going to give them 2 secs while I put the others on. And like I say, this would be way better if I had a griddle pan. So much better. But alas, I do need to buy a new one. I used the other one I had to smithereens, and it's my own fault. I kind of bought it online, and it just, the non-stick wasn't as non-stick as it should be. So I'll have to kind of like research and get a better brand. All right, let's get this going. This is the last 4 pieces now. I feel like that's too high. Don't want this to be steaming at all. I do want to get a little bit of a sear, but I definitely don't want it to be too steamy. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that there. You don't have to do this, so I'm just putting it there. Let's get this in there. Next level. Collect up these 4. Oh, a bit hot. Ah, hot. All right, and then so that is 16 pieces, and then I've got one more steam thingy sheet, and I'm not turning this up. I'm just keeping it super low because I don't really want it to all start cooking and then mess up my times, because I want them all to cook for basically the same amount of time. And like I say, the ones at the bottom cook the same as the ones at the top. It doesn't matter that you're using like levels, they all work the same. And here now, just going to give it a little bit more heat. It's a bit low. Again, I'm not going to fry these. I'm just going to get a little sear on there. I'm kind of watching it now, so I'm not very patient because it's almost midnight and it's almost 2024. Let's get a little bit of, that's it. And once these are done, all I need to do is basically give them 45 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes in here, because there's not that much vital wheat gluten. It doesn't need hours to cook. So just 40-45 minutes will be fine as a steam. Then just leave it to the side for them to cool down. And then whenever I'm ready to use them, I'll just basically take out each piece that I want to use. Usually for hubby, I will make, include 2 of these in each meal. And there is 20 of them, so that's basically 10 days of meals. And he wouldn't eat this every day anyway, so this is going to definitely last for 2 weeks, because I'll mix up other foods that we would have throughout the week as well. So this gives us really, this is a lot easier than buying meats, and it just tastes really good. All right, I think I'm happy with the sear on that. And unlike the others, I'm not going to give this any time to rest first. I want to get on with this cooking. I'm just going to go straight from one to the other. Alas, come on. Here we go. All right, kind of big, that one. I'm going to separate them because it's kind of overlapping a little bit. I don't want these to overlap when they're especially on the same level. Yeah, these ones are a bit bigger than the other ones. And here it's kind of touching the edge a little bit, and sometimes that can stick. So I'm just going to spray a little bit of oil so it doesn't stick. And then that's it. I'm going to basically cover these up with a wooden spoon on top, which serves two purposes. One, it won't get too hot, and two, it won't overboil. It will never overboil because there's not enough water in there to overboil, but it will kind of give a little bit of prevention of it becoming too warm. And the fire, you can see, is actually really not very high. I might actually swap it over because this one is a lower hob. But yeah, that's it. So this is part 2. Again, it's longer because I'm recording. If I was not recording this probably would have taken maybe 10 minutes to fry the burger parts. And then in terms of the cooking, that's 45 minutes. You can't really prevent that. So all in all, you've got 10 minutes to 12 minutes of mixing time. You have, I'll just show you that, 10 to 12 minutes of mixing time. Then you have 30 minutes for it to sit and do nothing while you go and do something else. If you can't get back in 30 minutes, that's fine. Just leave it on the side like I did. I left it for like 4 hours. Came back, and the texture is absolutely perfect. And just basically then you fry it, each piece, and that would take you about 10 minutes, roughly, if you're not like me talking you guys through it. I would probably say allow 10 minutes. If you're going to make like 20 pieces, allow maybe 8 to 10 minutes for actually flattening them. And then kind of just do your frying through. But if you've got an ability to have 2 skillets going at the same time, that will make things faster. And then that's it. You just got 45 minutes of steaming. I'm not going to keep you on the call for 45 minutes or the video for 45 minutes because there's nothing to be done. But I will do a final video when this is finished. And also I've ordered more storage space for my phone. That's why I'm doing these lives and not editing it, because I've run out of space and I just haven't got another chance to kind of get another SD card and then transfer everything over. So I'm going to be doing that. I've got my tripod that I'm going to be getting shortly. So my videos should be going up a notch in production value, and hopefully you'll stick with me through that process. Please share, like, comment on my videos. It does help my small channel, and I've got a milestone that I'm trying to reach so that I can turn on like things like memberships and stuff like that, and I need your help to do that. So please like the video, please share this with your friends who are vegans, or people who want to try to like maybe eat vegan one day a week or eat vegetarian food more. There are real options here. This total meal will cost me, I would probably say about $5 in terms of the quantities of everything that I use, but that's 2 weeks worth of meat. I just think it's great. Even if it was $10, it's not, but even if it was, I think that's really great and something that is definitely worth trying to emulate in your own home. So as you can see here, it's cooking nicely. I don't want to take away the steam too much, so I'm just going to kind of leave it to its own devices. And I will do an update video in about an hour, just so you can see what it looks like. All right, take care. Thank you so much for watching. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. Have an amazing, happy new year and New Year's Day. Take care now.